Hello and welcome to another Watch Report video review. My name is James Stacy and today we're taking a look at the new TAG Heuer Aquaracer WAN 2110. It's a newly updated model over the WAB series, and really I think it's an excellent watch and I'm really excited to be able to show it to you today. So this is part of TAG Heuer's newly refreshed Aquaracer line, which includes the extremely popular 500 meter diver, and hidden away in the catacombs of their website is this, the 300 meter WAN series. It's their entry-level diver. I think it's excellent value, great build quality, and like I said, I'm just excited to show it to you. So let's go over some stats here. So it's 41.5 millimeters across, which is a great size. It's only 12 millimeters thick, which is largely part of the reason I like it so much. 20 millimeter lugs, which taper, the bracelet tapers down to 18 millimeters at the clasp, and it's only 48 millimeters from the bottom tip of the bottom lug to the top tip of the top lug, which makes this an eminently wearable watch. This is going to suit a lot of wrists. I love it on my 7.5 inch wrist. I've seen it on larger and smaller wrists since getting it, and it really suits a wide array. You obviously get a screw down crown, which suits well with the 300 meter water resistance. Sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. It's an aluminum bezel, this is part of the updates to the new line. Gives you these grips along the bezel and these little notches and such. I'll show you those in detail in a moment. This is powered by the TAG Heuer Caliber 5. Much like Breitling, TAG has gone ahead and they're getting ETA sourced movements for the most part, and they're dressing them up. You'll likely get a TAG Heuer signed rotor or some other small changes to the movement, largely aesthetic, but these are essentially ETA movements. So in this one, the Caliber 5 is considered to be either an ETA 2824-2 or Solida SW200. Both are great movements, and I can attest to the timekeeping of this specific piece at between 0 and plus 2 seconds a day. So like I mentioned in the written part of this review, this is one of the most accurate, if not the most accurate, automatic I have yet to review. So you are getting something with the price increase when you go with like a known Swiss quantity like the TAG Heuer. So let's take a nice close look at the dial, largely my favorite part of the watch. So when we get in nice and close, you'll see there's this inner circle detail, which I love so much. It just barely makes it past the 15-minute markers at the four edges, and you get this great date window. So it is a white wheel with black text, which normally I'll admit I don't like. In this situation, it matches up so nicely with the marker to its left that I think it works beautifully. The dial is a glossy, almost inky black, and the markers are all inlaid, and as you can see when you turn them against the light, they all have a chrome border. This is the kind of watch where I actually consistently found myself looking at it and then realizing that I didn't actually check the time. I just kind of admired the way it looked. It's very subtle. It's a very refined and simple dress diver, but it has these small luxurious elements that are just kind of fun to look at. Tiny little bits of bling, if you will. The text and the TAG Heuer logo are just painted on. So again, gives it somewhat of a more simple style. If we get in nice and close to the bezel here, you'll see you have these grip tabs along the side, which wearing a glove, these would work really well, and they work really well with your fingers as well. And they have these nice notching as well. The bezel itself actually sits slightly below this edge and matches up nicely just below the crystal, as you can see there. Rotating it, it's 120 click bezel, which is a bit of a complaint. It's not a big deal, but it does, when you'll hear it, you'll hear this many clicks tends to sound a little on the cheap side. It's fine, it's perfectly secure. There's no wiggle or wobble in the in the bezel, but a 60 click option would sound quite a bit nicer, and would definitely feel a little bit more refined than the 120 click option. My main complaint with this watch is the crown. There's almost no grip, so screwing and unscrewing it is kind of difficult. Once it's out, it's fine, There's very little wobble or play to the crown, and it actually has a nice, like, heavy. You have to actually give it some effort. It's not any wishy-washy, and of course it's not going to move once it's redepressed, but you do really have to do the correct method, which is you want to push it against its threading and then rotate it in. But the whole time that I'm doing this, if I'm giving it a whole turn worth of play with my hands, I'm getting maybe a half turn against the crown. You do get a nicely signed crown with the little TAG Heuer logo there. So we'll take a look at the case back quickly. Now the caliber 5 that's in this may or may not have a signed rotor. Ultimately it makes no difference to me, as you can see this has the typical Aquaracer case back, which has the diver's bell on it, and it's nicely pointed. I like the case back, and it's really very comfortable. Take a nice close look at the bracelet here. So as you can see, I've scratched it a bit since getting it, but I absolutely love these links. I love the tapered design. I love where these links bevel in on their edges, so that you don't get any of the problems where the links actually meet contact under harsh angles, and the edges are all polished. If you're going to size this, I mentioned this in the written review as well, if you're going to size this watch, be very careful. This uses a pin and collar system, and if you lose the little collar, it's a tiny little metal sleeve that allows the pin to be held into the center link without being a split pin design. If you lose that, I assume you'd have to source another one through TAG, which would be annoying. If you're buying this at an AD or you have one nearby, and I would just take it to them and have them size it. At very most, it would be a minimal cost. You get a nice fold-over clasp. It's pretty simple, and it has a dive extension. Although given the aesthetics of the watch, I'd be surprised if people were diving with it, but I'd have no problem taking this in the water. It definitely has the quality needed. If I was going to snorkel or something, I'd have no trouble doing that. It's an extremely comfortable bracelet. Very limited rattle, where you notice the rattle of, say, holding the steering wheel of an older vehicle or something like that. I don't get any of that with this watch. So what we'll do is we'll give it a charge up under the lights, and we'll take a look at its lume. Okay, so here's the new TAG Heuer Aquaracer WAN 2110 after being given some time to charge. So as with any watch that has luminous paint, its performance in this area will be directly related to the size of the markers and the size of the hands. This watch has very small dot markers, bar markers, and very small thin hands. The lume is very bright to start, as it is on most watches. It dies off fairly quickly, but once it hits a certain point, which is not very bright at all, but definitely bright enough for pitch dark or next to pitch dark, this is a perfectly capable watch. It's not Seiko or Halios, and it's in the amount of paint they use or the longevity that the paint lasts, but for the size of the hands and the style of the watch, it's more than acceptable. Yeah, I've been very happy with the lume on this watch. A few times when I would wake up in the middle of the night, it's still glowing. It just isn't especially bright. You can definitely make out the hands. So what we'll do now is take a look at a wrist shot. Okay, so here's the new TAG Heuer Aquaracer WAN 2110 on wrist. The 12mm profile means it sits very low, and it has an excellent ratio to height and width at nearly 42mm. This puts it in a very good range to wear as an everyday watch, or a watch with anything from jeans to a suit. It fits very nicely under a cuff, and in my opinion it looks great while you do it. It has such nice classy, simple, and refined styling, and much more refined than what you find in most of the other Aquaracer models from TAG Heuer. I think this is an excellent watch. Retail pricing is around $1,700, but I'm sure if you make a couple of phone calls to some nearby authorized dealers, you should be able to find it closer to $1,300 after discount, and that would include your bracelet. And at that price point, you're getting an excellent movement, which I've seen to be very, very accurate. You're getting an eminently wearable watch. Very simple styling should make for a great watch that won't age any more or any less than your average dress watch. So for Watch Report, my name is James Stacy, and we completely approve of this watch and recommend it if it's something that fits your styling. This has been our review of the WAN 2110 from TAG Heuer. Thanks so much.